I want to talk a little bit about the concept of grooming, and only a little bit because that's the major topic for your conference in April. So I was asked just to cover this briefly to make sure we know what it is. Grooming is a word. How many of you have heard the word grooming by now? Okay, so it's pretty much in common parlance. It is the process that a pedophile goes through to kind of seduce the child to get the act going. I want to take it a step further, and I'm going to point again to Jerry Sandusky, and there are hundreds, if not thousands, like him. A pedophile not just grooms the victim, he grooms their family, he grooms the community, he makes it so, or she, makes it appear so normal that why would anybody question that I've got a 12-year-old boy on my arm? Right? So I am urging you to take the kind of vernacular of grooming, which we've all sort of got in our mind, right? We make friends with the kid, we buy the kid a present, we take the kid for a ride, we touch the kid, the touch gets sexual. You all know that. So keep that, because that's good to know. But I urge you to elevate your thinking and to understand that the pedophile grooms everybody, not just the kid, gradually ingratiating himself or herself into the child's life, the family's life, a community role, and the same concepts that you've got in your brain about grooming a child, you have to expand that and think about grooming in families, institutions, and communities. But I urge you to, when you think about grooming, to recognize that a pedophile grooms the entire community, not just the child victim. All right. So I just want to read, have all of you read, any of you read the Sandusky indictment? If you want to understand exactly how someone grooms a child in a community, read the indictment. I just cut and pasted one sentence out of the indictment because to me, this typifies grooming a child. Sandusky gave victim number one a number of gifts, including golf clubs, a computer, gym clothes, dress clothes, and cash. Sandusky took the boy to restaurants, swimming at a hotel near Sandusky's home, and to church. So he was so good, and I'm using him as an example, but he is not the only one. There are Jerry Sanduskys in communities all over the country. There may be one in yours or mine. Okay? So that he did such a good job grooming the community that he showed up with a 12-year-old on his arm at church, and no one thought anything of it. This is a true story. This came to me from a woman who works in the field. And I give it to you today. She's in another state. I'm not breaking any confidence. This is a woman who was raised by a mom who was a quadriplegic, which is to me an act of heroism. I mean, a quadriplegic mom raising a kid. Helpful male neighbor is gradually accepted into helping around the house. Take out the trash, run to the grocery store. Helpful male neighbor eventually buys little girl a bike for her birthday. Little girl's thrilled, doesn't have a dad, now has a bike. Helpful male neighbor takes the little girl out and teaches her how to ride the bike. The third lesson, helpful male neighbor tries to initiate sex with the girl. Right? True case came to me from a colleague who was, someone who works in the field. So, helpful male neighbor sees a vulnerable family. This disgusts me. What is more vulnerable than a mom in a wheelchair trying to raise a kid? And that's how these folks operate. They see an opportunity. And to hear this woman who's now grown and now, can talk about it, she says as she thinks back on this, she could see how he was planning this out. And then when you talk to the pedophiles, you know that it's that whole process. It's the whole kind of like the thrill of the chase or the thrill of the hunt, right? And what the community responsibility movement wants you to do is we want you to smell it while the guy is still hunting. If you see a single male or female, and I've got some female cases to share, but if you see a family where there's a mom in need, right, who's suddenly being helped by some guy that just shows up out of nowhere and there's a kid, you gotta pay attention. You gotta pay attention.